The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Open your eyes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to tonight's edition of Open Your Eye here on the Pace Radio Network. Today is Psychedelic Tuesday, and we're already in February the 8th already. This year is just zipping right on through. Of course, we are the first psychedelic podcast here at the Pace Radio Network, video podcast focusing on psychedelic medicine. Joined as always by my lovely joint host, awesome Cindy Howell. How's it going, Cindy?
Hey Kim, it's been a day. I've been doing laundry, but that's always fun. How about you?
That's always fun. Hey, we're not gonna go there. We're not.
I know
gonna,
it's a loaded question,
today,
right?
It's a loaded question. If you only knew. My day today, of course, I'm off grid here, and we're building a homestead from scratch, mostly on our own, only using contractors when absolutely necessary. And we've had our trials with this adventure that we're on. We've had some big ass issues that crop up. Needless to say, more issues cropped up over the last few days. We had a contractor come in, a repairman, and give us some really bad news on where we're at. And I'm dealing with that. I'm not getting into it. It's got to do with freezing and northern temperatures, and it's a mess. But, I keep smiling, right? Even though it's a mess. And why do I keep smiling? Well, because I microdose mushrooms.
They help.
Yeah, that's my antidepressant extraordinaire, right? We don't need big pharma for that. We've got some natural elements in our earth here that help us out with these things just fine.
Absolutely. My caps are right over. Tomorrow's the day, right? I've got them already sitting over there waiting to go.
Yeah. Today was my microdose day, and I'm really happy for that. It was a day I absolutely needed it. Getting bad news and sitting there looking at the guy going, no way, but the sides of my cheeks are still like slightly turned up, going, okay, so this is where we're at. Because what else can you do? I mean, yeah, what else can you do? You can't do much, right? You just gotta go with it.
Go with it.
You just gotta go with it. So, it's an adventure. I am putting together a new podcast that's going to be my husband and myself, Steve, and myself on Nook Productions, and we're going to discuss some of the trials of being off grid and doing it on your own.
You will have a lot to discuss.
I let a lot of it public on what's going on, but there's a lot that I have not brought forward. That it should make for a pretty comical show for the first few episodes while we catch you all up on what's been going on in the last 9 months or so. This is the hardest labor and birth I've ever had out of all my kids.
Oh, shoot.
So yeah, it's going to be an interesting show. I'm looking forward to putting that on.
Yeah, it should be
getting
great.
The old man on the air too. That should be fun.
That should be interesting. Yes, that should be a lot of fun. Yeah, Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm excited too for tonight's guest.
For
Just to let
sure.
all of our viewers out there know, we do have a slight change. We had originally scheduled a pair of guests on, Teresa Kozak and Firstman from Jamaica, an international show coming to us from Jamaica. They've had some issues over there and they had to do a last minute cancellation. So we will miss them. But at the same time, sometimes things happen for a reason and become fortuitous. And we secured ourselves a new guest for this evening that I am really excited is on with us. Old friend from a long time in the cannabis community that is also in the psychedelic space. And we're very happy to present tonight. Miss Melanie Wilhelm is in the house, artist extraordinaire, cannabis entrepreneur, and psychedelic journey person. So that's cool.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm really excited. She makes some beautiful art with psilocybin as well. It's one of the things that have caught my eye over the years as I've gotten to know Melanie. So, I'm really excited to chat with her about what she's doing.
Yeah, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. I've got several pieces of hers outlined in the cannabis community. I'm anxious to get a few more in my possession now that she's in the psychedelic space as well and expanding her art in that space. And she does so much. Why don't we go ahead and bring Melanie in and
Absolutely.
introduce the audience to this wonderful artist, good friend, artist extraordinaire, as I said, Melanie Wilhelm is in the house. Hi, Mel. How's it going?
I'm well. How are you, beautiful ladies, this evening?
Doing well. Thank you.
Doing all right. Doing all right. Doing
That was
all
that was
right.
that was quite the entrance there. Thank you very much for that.
You're welcome. You deserve it, man. So much more. I would have had something prepared and written up had we had booked you in advance, but you were gracious enough to fill in this space for us tonight, and we really, really appreciate that. So you got what I got off the top of my head, what I can think of when I think about Melanie and mellow moments. I mean, art. The art that you do is very cool. I have several of your pieces already, some of your lacquer art and your, what is that called? That when you pour that acrylic, the
The
acrylic stuff
pour
that you were
pour
doing.
art.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, that's very cool. And of course the cannabis jewelry with the nuggets on jewelry and stuff. I've got a few of those as well.
it's been fun to play with
Yeah,
fun to play with a bunch of different mediums. So and blessed to have you ladies along
yeah.
for the journey. So thank you for that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Let's start off by giving our viewers some background on Mel. Mellow Moments is company, I guess, tagline that you use. Everybody knows about Mellow Moments, and you're an artist in this space. It started off with cannabis, and you've expanded into the psychedelic realm. Tell us a little bit about how you got started with using natural therapies as part of your art, or getting art involved in natural therapy.
For sure. So it was about 6 years ago now. I suffered from serious grand mal seizures in my sleep. I had taken registered massage therapy school. I was prepping for my board exams. I'd been hired at a spot, on site, pending my board exams. So eager to start the next stage of my life. And I suffered 55 minutes worth of seizures within about 6 hours, and my entire world was rattled. I forgot my address. I forgot all kinds of things. Just to put it into perspective, I was living away from my family at the time, single, ended up moving back closer to my family. I came home to go to a Michael's to buy some art supplies, and I couldn't remember the layout of Michael's. I couldn't remember where the supplies were. I've always known where all the supplies are in Michael's, and that was enough that I would literally have a breakdown and turn around and leave, because my brain just didn't work the same as it did. I had just graduated university level anatomy and physiology as a registered massage therapist, and I couldn't remember my address or where art supplies were.
Wow.
And that was stressful for me.
Yeah.
I've always smoked cannabis. I've smoked cannabis since I've been about 12, 13. It's been a family thing, kind of. It's always been around. Didn't realize I was consuming for medicinal reasons ever. And it was my recreational drug of choice as well. I didn't realize that I was medicating. But after the seizures, that's when, and it happened my entire life consuming cannabis, but it was after the seizures with so much memory damage and so many memory issues, that people always make the joke, well, maybe if you didn't smoke so much pot, well, maybe if you didn't smoke so much pot, well, it's the weed. It's the weed. And you know what? I just got to a point where I cut out all the negativity in my life. And that meant I isolated. And I locked myself away from everyone, and I focused on art, and cannabis got me through. I've always been into plant medicines and the natural side of plants. I've never been one for pharmaceuticals. I will try a homeopathic remedy before I will try, a pharmaceutical. That was kind of always just the way it was. And I started working with the Indigenous Cannabis Cup and started working in media in the cannabis space. And I started meeting these amazing people and these activists, you wonderful people that fought for our rights and fought for our patients. And I was just some closet pothead that had no clue what was going on. I'd never even been to a 420. So when I stepped into the cannabis space, I really didn't feel that I had a reason to confront you wonderful people and to hear your stories. And I didn't feel that I was a reason enough for people to just say, hey, this is my story and I want to talk to you about it. And I really respected what you guys and what everyone had done in the industry. And I saw a really cool design one time with cannabis and resin. And I thought, well, I play with resin, so I can do that. And so the cannabis resin nugs were created. So this is an actual real cannabis nug that has been resined. And I started gifting these to people in the cannabis space. And that was kind of my thank you for all the work that you have done so that I was able to have access to medicine. And so many other people were able to have access to medicine. And I started working really hard. And it was just before the first Indigenous Cup. And I thought, my goodness, I was diagnosed with lupus through this whole thing, dealing with doctors, dealing with all this craziness and all this negativity and drama behind me and family shit and stuff. And when the Indigenous Cup came, I thought, what am I going to do? Like, I have to work for 4 days and someone's going to notice if I have a lupus flare up or if I get sick, and then someone might see me as weak. And then all this hard work is, because we build this up in our heads. I'm not saying any of it's accurate, right? But we build this all up. And so I thought, fuck it, it's a weed event. I'm going to consume as much weed as humanly possible. Yeah. Anything happens to me, I'll blame the weed. Everyone else has my entire life, right? So I'll just blame the weed. And you were there, Kim. You saw me. I ran for 4 days. Yep. I built an event. You did. I connected people. I problem solved. I was the person on the ground that had made all of those connections between our Indigenous friends and between all of our, at the time, Black market friends, between this amazing underground worlds. And I tried to collide the two of them together. And it was awesome. And it was, and then I just started into that. And then honestly, I didn't have space to grow cannabis. I had to pick between art and cannabis indoors. And my art always won because that's my mental health. And that's what I will always maintain. I ended up putting myself into full remission. And I since then have traveled. I've traveled to BC. I've traveled Victoria Island. I just did a 6-month tour in California. I got to see Nevada. I got to see all kinds of amazing, wonderful things. And it was just before I guess just around this time last year when I was like, you know what? I want to grow something. And my friends had bags of mushrooms. They were like, you know, we're
Bags of
trying
mushrooms.
this. You like to eat mushrooms? I was like, yeah, occasionally I giggle with my friends sometimes and we eat mushrooms. And I'll be completely honest with you, mushrooms bugged my tummy.
Yeah.
I didn't like them.
Yeah.
I have dabbled with LSD.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I feel that I've used cannabis, and I've joked and used this as kind of a tagline. I don't smoke cannabis to escape reality. I smoke weed to assess reality.
Yeah.
I need to just kind of take that toke and go, what the fuck just happened? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And I found that acid and mushrooms allowed me to do that on such a deeper level.
Oh, completely different level.
Absolutely.
Hey.
Absolutely.
I'm an
And you got into
emotional
the
person.
growing. Yeah, you got
Right?
into the growing. I'm gonna pop this picture in there.
So
This is Mal with
this was my first grow.
one of her little
Your first
chunks
one?
there, and she's
This was
like,
my
"What
first
the
mushroom
hell did
grow.
I just do? What did
Literally.
I just do? I did this."
I sure did that. I sure did.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
awesome. Like, it was amazing. That bag of mushrooms changed my entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. So yeah, I got to do that. And then through some of my connections and through sharing some things, I got to meet some pretty amazing people while I was in California, and I got to witness some pretty amazing grows. And I literally got to learn everything about mushrooms from spore to fruit.
Nice.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, that's
I mean, you
fantastic.
you definitely grew some nice looking stuff. Like, look at the size of that puppy. That's a pretty big fungi there, Mel.
I believe that one was about 75 grams wet, so that
Nice.
would have turned out to about 7.5 grams bone dry.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
over a quarter in one mushroom.
One mushroom. Yeah.
Mushroom.
One
So
mushroom. So, natural therapy, you've been on a road for a while. Cannabis helped you. You discovered that, hey, it's a medicine. It's not the cause of my problems, it's the savior of my problems. And that expanded into the mushroom world. You touched on it a little bit about doing acid and doing mushrooms in the past. They bothered your gut. I found that the same as well. Years ago, doing psychedelics as recreationally, and then doing the ones that I grow medicinally now, I find don't have those different effects on my stomach. Have you found that?
yes and no. Yes, they have, but doing this magical mycology journey, I have found out that it's actually it can be the spores. So the spores in the mushrooms can actually cause indigestion. We're not meant to digest spores. So that can cause the digestion. And I don't know about you ladies, but I was always raised that you eat the caps because that's where the good stuff is.
Yeah.
When we grow mushrooms, we pick mushrooms just before the caps we say just before the skirts turn. When the skirts lift, that's when the fun begins. And we do that because the spores are about to release. So we want a clean product. We don't want it to look black and yucky. And that's what happens when the spores release. But so my theory then is, well, are we not just keeping the spores in the mushroom tops?
Yeah.
So I've actually they're still there. Exactly. So that's when I switched. I wanted to test a theory, and that's kind of when I dove into the hardcore microdosing. Because you can have an even mix. You're not consuming as many spores. I've ground them all up. It mixed all together, and I don't find that issue. I can microdose and not have an issue at all, obviously. I can macrodose and not have an issue. I can hero dose.
Because you've ground them up and you take them that way.
And I feel that, so I have them in I've ground them up and I mix them up. I take these 3 days a week. I do 3 days on, 4 days off. These are full psilocybin. On my 4th days off, I actually take a 1 milligram of psilocybin mixed with a 7 organic mushroom blend. So I guess I'm technically microdosing almost 7 days a week. But I have a 7 mushroom blend that helps with immunity and neural regeneration and a ton of different elements. And I found that has just been huge for my health and mental health.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're talking just, other like non-psilocybin, non-magic mushrooms.
Correct.
So,
correct. Yeah. Functional medicinal mushrooms, non-psychedelic. So it's a chaga, reishi, maitake, cordyceps, turkey tail, lion's mane, and I think I'm missing one in there. Shiitake, maitake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And these are mushrooms, many of them shiitakes and that. These are mushrooms that we grow, that we buy in the grocery store. We add them to our Chinese food when we're cooking. Mushrooms, fungi on it in itself can have some amazing medicinal properties on their own without the high. The added effect of having the psilocybin in there, it's just another element of the mushroom that's available in certain strains. Now, if mushrooms on the whole are health-wise and healthy for you, well, of course, it stands to reason that the ones with the psilocybin in it are also healthy, right?
Exactly. And I kind of had a theory, how long did it take us to figure out that we needed the THC for the CBD to work? That the CBD was the C in the THC, and that we needed that little key to open that lock to get everything activated. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? If it's good for neural regeneration, then why wouldn't I mix it on a lower dose with other mushrooms that have those benefits as well as others?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've definitely, the reason I started doing it was because I kind of found almost, I will say that my tripping kind of changed. I used to take mushrooms to laugh and giggle with my friends and trip balls, as they would say, and and then they turned into this sacred medicine, and I sit. It is. I sit with them on my altar. I give thanks to them. They're a medicine to me. When I take mushrooms now and I find something, not other than getting the poops, ladies, let's not sugarcoat it. But, when you get a stomach ache, when you get something, that's the medicine guiding you. That's the medicine talking to you. So you sit with that and you accept that. And I kind of found that, especially artistic wise and tapping into that free flowing feeling, it was a little bit more of this, than I had really wanted. So that's when I kind of started going to the microdosing, the microdosing on my days off with the other mushrooms incorporated into it. And it's been amazing.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It really is. It really is. I know what you mean by it changes. It changes the way you use these things. After you realize the medicinal properties that are taking place and you treat it as a medicine, because I feel the same way. I've used psychedelics since the late 1970s and all through the 80s. It was the psychedelic age there. And, I rode that wave. There's not much out there that I haven't tried. on a recreational basis. And it was like, oh yeah, like you say, let's do this. We're gonna trip balls tonight, man. We're gonna go out. We're gonna rock the house. We're going dancing. We're gonna do whatever. We're gonna go. We used to go to Laser Floyd at the planetarium
Jesus.
in
Right?
Toronto, right? We'd go to Laser at the planetarium on Saturday night. The planetarium would play Laser Floyd, right? It was Pink Floyd
Nice.
laser show, and you'd be in the seats like this, and it's like, yeah, I ate a whole
Amazing.
bunch of mushrooms, man. We're gonna do some acid, and we're going to Laser Floyd, man. It's gonna be epic, right? And this is the kind of things that we do. In today's world, I'll get girlfriends over and we're having a girls' weekend or something, and everybody knows I've got a fairly substantial supply of psilocybin in the house most times. And so it's like, oh, let's do some mushrooms, Kim. And it's like, yeah, okay. And I'll get all geared up with them because, the crowd mentality thing, it's like, yeah, let's do some mushrooms. We'll have a bonfire. It's going to be great. We're going to laugh all night. And they will be laughing all night. And I'm kind of sitting there going,
Yeah.
and it's just not the same anymore, because that's not what it's about, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel that so deeply. I feel that so deeply in my soul. I mean, I find that I'm still able to kind of sit back and giggle. I find that it's easier to giggle because I'm giggling at them more than myself.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, my new thing. I mean, I live alone. I'm house sitting alone right now, so I like to trip balls alone.
Alone,
Like,
right? I know.
Let's fucking dive in. Like, let's do this. Like,
Yeah.
it was I've been in some situations and I've been in some environments that weren't conducive to, a great psychedelic environment or trip. And but of course we were young and dumb, so we fucking did it anyway. But
Did it anyway.
so now, right now I feel like I'm like it's time to take that back. Like,
yeah,
I want to get so high in a sense that I want to lay on the floor and close my eyes and still see stuff and not leave my house, not go anywhere. I want to have a journey. Like, I want to, I want to figure this out. Like,
yeah.
So yeah, that to me has been fun. It's just, it's kind of gone from, I don't know, just something we viewed as recreational, like to something that I literally worship. I'm making jewelry of it.
That's awesome.
So these are mushrooms that
they're beautiful.
I grew myself.
So this is the same as your cannabis art. So this is an actual mushroom. This is not something that you like made with like paste.
No, so this is an actual mushroom, psilocybin mushroom.
I must have one. I must have
coated.
One. I'm going to be making an order.
Mine's in the mail on the way here now. I'm so excited.
Yes, we had such a kertuffle with that, but my goodness, yes. So I've done some different ones. Again, it's a little hard to see here, but I added some color to this one to accentuate it. It actually has some glow-in-the-dark resin in it, so the caps and the stems will glow in the dark, as well as UV reactive. Because that's the thing with my art. I love bright colors and I love neon. So back to a little bit of my journey, after my seizures, I ended up in a women's shelter. I was living in a women's shelter, and I had been painting. And when I got to the shelter, I needed an outlet. I needed something, obviously, to do to keep myself busy. And I didn't have very many funds, but I had a whole box of these really dark, ugly paintings that I had played with in past. And I went and got super bright neon colors and I poured them all over. And it was like this big transition stage for me to break through on these bright colors and immortalize all of this stuff. And I didn't realize at the time, but working with all of those brights and all of those neons, that I was actually creating UV reactive art. So all of my paintings, all of my rolling trays, all of the stuff that I make is not only UV reactive, but it's 3D when viewed with 3D glasses under a UV light.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Nice.
you can have some super trippy responses.
Yeah.
So again, sitting at home, just setting up my lights, turning on some artwork, as I like to say. And it's great just to have a journey again with friends for different perspective, just to sit around and say, let's take a minute to look at this. Let's look at it under regular light. Let's look at it under white light. Because when I look at it and I see that goddamn unicorn or whatever I see in it that I try to not see because then I label my paintings as that, right? But then when Cindy says, oh man, look at the mountains and that valley and that, and I go, oh crap, look at that.
Yeah.
And then Kim says something else. That says so much about perspective in life though, right? There's so many different views and different perspectives, and 3 people, 1 room, 1 piece of art, and not one of us are wrong.
Yeah, and it's all different.
And it's all different. That to me is what it's all about. That's the amazing, eye-opening art.
Yeah, that's art. I mean, art is subjective to the beholder, right? We see that on a regular basis throughout the art world. There's no reason that this should be any different.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, it's such a cool medium using the natural elements. I love that you're using resins and you're using the actual plant. Like, I mean, another artist could sit down and create that mushroom pieces out of whatever resins or putty or whatever it is that their medium is that they're using, and then paint it to make it look like a mushroom and then put it on a chain. This is an actual mushroom, just like your actual buds. I love my bud necklace, actually, by the way, the one that you showed. Mine isn't quite that large. Mine's only a little guy. But I love my bud necklace, and I wear that like everywhere in the cannabis community during events. It's like, yes, I'm wearing my cannabis art as well. And
That's
I
amazing.
think this is the next progressive natural step for you.
That's the thing
here.
When I made the cannabis buds and I started wearing them, and I started, I was making rings and cufflinks and I was making all kinds of things. I'd have senior citizens stop me at Tim Hortons and tell me they were in love with my gemstones.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah. And then I'd get to say it's not gemstones, it's cannabis. And then they'd look at me like I was an idiot. And then I'd say it was marijuana. And they'd be like, what? And then we'd have this full open conversation about how I was this nice person that you could have a conversation with at Tim Hortons in public that wore beautiful cannabis jewelry. And I consumed cannabis. And I had amazing conversations. Not once did it turn negative.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's what pushed me. Yeah. That's what pushed me to continue making this, because I was like, you know what? If we can change the opinions, 1 pendant, 1 bud at a time, then let's do it. And then legalization happened, and you can't promote the lifestyle.
Yeah. No, you're not allowed to promote anything, People might think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Absolutely. But that's what pushes me forward. So that's what keeps me going. So I've done a couple of the different.
They're so beautiful.
Cool. Mushroom styles. And then, so it's it's hard to see, but it's a little cabochon style.
Oh, I like that one.
That's resin sweet. Inside that's with nice. 3 little mushrooms and some moss pieces. And then I actually made some mushroom earrings.
Oh my God, I love those.
Oh yeah,
Mel. Oh, I love those.
1 solid little mushroom guy.
Okay, we gotta talk. We gotta talk after the show, because I need to place an order. I'm going to be decked out in mushrooms for the next show.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And on that note, let me know, because I would love to be a sponsor for the show. And I would love to send some extra pieces along for some giveaways, raffles, sell, whatever you want to do. I would like to be a sponsor and help out with that. So
that would be
Oh,
fantastic.
you're a sweetheart. Mello, you're a sweetheart. On that note, it is time for a commercial break. I see we're past actually commercial break, but it's medication time.
It is.
Yeah, we're gonna hear from sponsors, and then Cindy and I'll be back with tonight's fill-in guest. That is absolutely epic. Mellow Moments. Melanie Wilhelm in the house talking psychedelic art and so much more here on Open Your Eye. And you are tuned in, of course, to the Pace Radio Network. We'll be back in just a minute. Next week on Psychedelic Tuesdays here on Pace Radio. Tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for the Psychedelic Reporters. Bufo Alvarius is scouring the newswires for stories being reported in mainstream media on the psychedelic front, and passing them on to joint host Cindy Howell and me, Kim Cooper, so we can bring them to you, our listeners, in this 60-minute video news podcast. Join us on Psychedelic Tuesdays each week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time for all your news and information from the world of psychedelic medicine.
Hey man, Psychedelic Tuesdays at 7 p.m. here on paceradio.net.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Did you know that the Pace Radio Network isn't just a radio network? That's right, because most, but not all of our programming is now done via video and is then podcasted at paceradio.net. So if you want to watch our programming, you'll find us on the Pace Radio Network's Facebook page, plus the show's own page, and you'll find us live on the network's YouTube channel. And don't forget, you can find it all, video and audio, at paceradio.net.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network, found at paceradio.net, provides its listeners with news, information, and a place to be heard. This is done through our 5 weekly live video and audio broadcasts that cover cannabis and psychedelic news, plus those we interview. We get started Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern with the Reefer Reporters. Then at 9 p.m. we're live with Canada Quebec. Tuesday brings you Open Your Eye or the Psychedelic Reporters at 7 p.m. Wednesday at 8, we are live with the Pace Radio Show. But we're not done yet, because on Thursday, the Reefer Reporters return with another Reefer Report. Meanwhile, once a month, Thursdays bring you the Grassroots Advocate, the Pace Radio Network's audio magazine. All these shows, plus more, are found right here on paceradio.net.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
What is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network? It's a network of people advocating cannabis education.
CTCP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CTCP.
Who has huge buds? You do. If you shop at BMA Hydroponics, attend one of BMA's educational seminars and learn the secrets of growing, harvesting, processing, and consuming quality cannabis and cannabis products. Learn how to make better extracts, edibles, and medicinal creams at prices you can afford. Visit BMA Hydroponics at 404 Maitland Drive, Belleville, or call 613-967-9888.
The only way to go.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.
And we're back from our medication session here on Open Your Eye. And if you're not sure yet, we're live. Hey, Cindy, we're always live.
We're always live here at Pace Radio, yes.
Always live. If you do miss our live shows, you can catch the replay on our social media sites like Pace Radio Network page or the Open Your Eye group page on Facebook. We're also available on YouTube afterwards and during the live podcast, as well as the website now. We have a website page set up that carries the live stream.
Yeah, I got that notification too. That was pretty exciting.
Yeah, so you can catch the replays on the live stream on our network site as well. And if you're a radio listener, the audio podcast is also available on the website as well as on all of the audio apps out there, broadcasted through Spreaker and then carried through the audio apps like Spotify and CastBox and SoundCloud and Google Plus and Apple Podcasts and all the hundreds of rest of them that are out there.
There's all kinds. Yeah. Whatever you like to use, we're usually on there.
Yeah. Just Google up Pace Radio Network or Open Your Eye Show, and you should be able to find us. Today's guest, exciting young lady that I personally really am very, very fond of for many years now in the cannabis community, and is also in the psychedelic space. We're going to return now with Melanie Wilhelm in the house and talk some more about everything that she's got going on. Melanie, I want to switch gears just a little bit. The medicinal value of these. We've spoken to patients, other patients that are out there. Did you have, my joint is still burning in my ashtray here. I got some, better put that out a little bit better. Did you go through the roller coaster ride of doctors attempting or succeeding at prescribing different pharmaceuticals to you to help you with your conditions?
Oh, absolutely. I was a pincushion in the pharmaceutical world.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, and it's horrible, right? Nothing works.
No, after my seizures, I was actually the diagnosis coming out of the hospital was that I didn't stop seizing until I was loaded with Dilantin and lorazepam. Dilantin is an anticonvulsant medication. And they literally had me on such high doses that within a week I was hospitalized again for Dilantin toxicity. I was hospitalized 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
And I had to self-diagnose what was going on. And I was still experiencing seizures at this point. I was experiencing absent seizures. I'd just gap out. I was having aura seizures and seeing things, and just the tonic, clonic, jerky seizures. I had no idea what was going on. And they were just like, oh, well, that didn't work here. Let's try this one. And let's try this one. Again, same thing with the frickin' antidepressants, because God forbid you say you're unhappy with life, they shove an antidepressant down your throat.
Yeah.
You know, if they shove an antidepressant down your throat, then Yeah, and I was on so many different ones, and every single time they'd put me on a pharmaceutical, um, it would have an appetite suppressant in it. I mean, I was, I needed to gain weight. I didn't need to lose weight.
Yeah.
And that would
No, I
further
know.
cycle me, more. Same thing with the anticonvulsant medications. They kept shoving them down my throat. They kept literally forcing me, telling me, threatening me I couldn't drive if I didn't take them, even though I had been on medication and seizure free for 6 months. That didn't matter. Then they fought me further. And I literally felt that it was just so that they could try different prescriptions on me and have different theories on me.
You're a guinea pig.
Yeah, they were
Absolutely.
experimenting. Yeah.
Absolutely. And yeah, it was such an up and down, and thank goodness for the cannabis, because the side effects, it was always the side effects. And they'd always have something that, was contraindicative of another medication. There was numerous times that I went to the pharmacy and the pharmacist was like, "Whoa, why are you taking these two drugs?" And I'm like, "Because the doctor
they shouldn't be together.
told me to." Yeah, like
yeah.
And that kind of really, again, opened my eyes into the plant medicines. I come from a European background. My grandmother came over, and if you had a fever, if you had a chest, she would boil pork fat with onions and lay it on your chest. And my God, I was up running the next day and playing, right? Like, I would draw it right out. Like, she would do all kinds of wonderful, amazing things with foods, with plants. We drank dandelion tea. And I was always kind of fascinated by that. So I think it's just, I feel it's the way to go.
Yeah, it's in your blood. It's in your blood. Grandma passed that on for sure. Absolutely. And I hear that a lot, and personal experience with that as well. I was on the Dilantin phenobarb train. Phenobarbital and Dilantin is the two that I was prescribed for my seizure condition way back when. But I mean, we're talking in the 1970s. In the late 1970s, and they had me on such high doses I wound up in the hospital, and you're sick, and they're talking about cleaning out your blood, and it's like, okay, well, they didn't name it toxicity back then. It was just, oh, well, we might have given you too much, and now you're in the hospital and you're sick and you feel like you're dying for days, right? And then they let you out and they slowly ramp you up again, and then they add this one on and they add that one on. As a youth, it was horrific. Like, I was like 13 when they were doing this shit.
Absolutely. And I find so many times in the healthcare system that side effects are considered symptoms.
Yeah.
And they're not looked into. I've gone to the doctors numerous times in past and been like, I have this, 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 and this. And he's like, oh, well, here, try a medication for this. But it's literally a side effect from the medication that you already gave me. Yeah.
Yeah. They're looking for another medication to fix the side effect from the first medication. Next thing you know, you're on 20 pills.
Yep.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And with the studies that are coming out in today's world, like Cindy and I on alternate psychedelic Tuesdays, we report on psychedelic news, and every week we talk about different studies that are happening in the world of medicine. Universities and pharmaceutical companies and cannabis companies and everybody you can think of is launching studies on doing this and applying for Section 56 here in Canada with the government in order to secure the products to do these studies. And every one of them, at the conclusion of the studies, they tell us, well, we find this really works, and we got results in like 3 hours later. The person was better than they've been in 15 years. We actually reported in a story about that. It was like 3 hours. This person has been struggling for 20 years, and they do this natural therapy session, and in 3 hours, they're better. And at the conclusion of every one of those studies and every one of those papers, they say the same thing, that this is only to be utilized when all other avenues have already been tried. Why is it that something that can work in 3 hours and bring relief to somebody has to be a last resort? People that are struggling with PTSD, depression, anxiety, all of these things, your largest trigger and thing that'll put you further back is failure. Continuing to fail only exasperates your condition. So why is it that we have a medical community that is setting you up for failure? I cannot understand that for the life of me.
Unfortunately, the way that our healthcare system is set up is we fit into categories. And it's the way the entire Western medicine works. So you have to have a certain amount of symptoms to fit into a certain diagnosis to get a certain medication. And unfortunately, with the free healthcare, that's how our doctors are being paid, is with medications and with prescriptions and through the pharmaceutical companies. I'm not here to bash doctors. I'm not here to bash the healthcare system. It fucking sucks. And some of them are assholes. But I'm not here to bash it because I understand that's the way that the system works. And honestly, once you understand that that's the way that the system works, it's a lot easier to navigate. On the other hand, I have a hard time because I'm trained university level anatomy and physiology. Registered massage therapy is not a joke. And I'm trained on a level that some general practitioners weren't trained on. And so sometimes when I came in and was like, well, this, and this, it's a physiological response or this and blah, blah, and I wasn't greeted with, holy crap, I didn't know that information. I was greeted very aggressively. I was greeted as if I was insane. I was greeted as if I had no idea what I was talking about. And that is utterly
dare you tell me
devastating.
something? Right?
And I thought,
How
you know
dare
what?
you tell me something? I'm the physician.
Absolutely. I thought, you know what? Fuck this. I'm done. I really am. Like, I'm done. Yeah. So, I mean, being an advocate, absolutely agree with it. The hard part when you're dealing with your health and when you're at the edge, when you're dealing with health and when you're at that stage of dealing with all of this prescriptions and all of this stuff already, we're not really the most stable.
No.
So it's easy to cry. It's easy to get a little aggressive, even if we're not going to do anything. But if we're just like, I fucking had enough, and professionals don't like that. Right?
I'm good at that. That's my go-to.
Like, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to share a story. And I was sick. My stuff was going on. I wasn't diagnosed. I didn't know what was going on. My doctor literally told me to my face that cannabis was the cause of my seizures. I withdrew from his roster. I literally pulled myself as a patient and I said, no more. And that the only way I could get a new doctor was to pull myself from his patient list. And that led to me having to go to clinics and the ER. And I was having another side effect from another medication they had shoved down my throat. I honestly have blocked the name out of it, but one of the anti-seizure medications that they gave me caused suicidal thoughts and dreams. I've never dealt with that before in my life to that level. Holy shit.
Yeah.
And I was kind of at the bottom and I didn't know what was going on. And I'm sure you ladies can relate, when you're not comfortable in your own skin, it's hard to be comfortable in anything that you do.
Yep.
And that led me going to the hospital and basically pleading that I need help. and they want 4 symptoms so that they can fit you into that category, so that they can give you that prescription, so that they can get you out that door. And when that doesn't happen, and then you show emotion and you become passionate, I literally had them send me out the door, tell me there was nothing that they could do to help me. They held the door open in case, when the nurse came in and had a security guard standing outside because I was emotional and yelling because I was at my fucking wit's end. Like my wit's end.
This is a person that needs help, and you're at the hospital requesting help, and they're throwing
you're
your
there in
ass
crisis.
out.
Yeah.
Like, what the
Right?
fuck? What the actual fuck?
They literally sent me out the door with the little IV thing still in my arm.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah. And yeah. And that's when I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to start looking into some alternatives because I don't think this is working for me.
Yeah, this isn't good.
Right? And that's,
good.
you
Pisses
deal
me
with
off.
stuff.
This,
Yeah. And we deal with
I
stuff
get
like
so
that.
angry.
Yeah. And again, right, exactly on that note, Kim, instead of getting angry, instead of turning into a monster or letting it turn into trauma or letting it turn into something, you know what? I sat with it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when we sit with things, we sit with emotions.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hence my good little mushroom friends come in.
Yes, they help.
They sure do. Because there's times that I can look at those emotions with a smile on my face, not a gut-wrenching pain. And I can go, fuck, aha, that's why I do this. Or that's why.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to me, that's...
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. It's you've got to get over the rage part. But for me, I'm an explosive person for the most part. I keep stuff under wraps for a very, very long time, but then when shit comes to the surface, it just kind of goes pop. But once I pop, then it's over.
Then it's over,
now.
right?
And it's over. It's out. It's done now. We're going forward, and now I can evaluate everything, take it all in, say, okay, and look at stuff and say, okay, that happened, and I learned this from that, and you keep that, and that's my release, is to go pop for a couple of minutes and let it all out, and okay, now I'm good, shrug it off, moving on. And
right.
but like you say, sit with it, analyze it, know why you went pop.
Understand. Yeah.
Right.
And I've
understand.
actually. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
I've actually gotten to the point now too where I'm trying to identify with some of those triggers and kind of learn ahead of time. And you know what's really helped me?
Yeah.
Art.
Yeah.
And I love you. I know you're going to say I don't do art. I don't. Neither do I. Neither did I. I was not taught. I have no training. I have no schooling. This was literally me sitting in my apartment, and I see things differently. I can look at a brick and I can see a scene. I can look at a brick and see Michael Jackson's face, for Christ's sakes. I see things. I see patterns. I see things differently.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can make this. Well, I can take this stump and I can add a roof and I can make little fairy houses and I can make, and I can. And I started, I can.
Creative mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to do any of it.
Mind, for sure.
So I YouTubed it because I wasn't sitting with those thoughts. I didn't want to sit with those thoughts anymore. And I didn't want to take on any more projects or more people or make myself vulnerable in any other ways. So I stuck to art. And there's been some different art techniques and actually part of art therapies that have actually trained me to rewire my brain in different ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally by picking up a pencil.
Cool. I have a great admiration. I have a great admiration for art. I have an even greater admiration for those that create art, because that's just not in my makeup.
No.
I wish it was sometimes. I mean, I can follow instruction, right? I
Yep.
mean, I went to one of those token paint things, right? And we did. There's a woman on the stage, and she's got the completed piece up there, and she's got a blank canvas beside it, and we're all there with our canvas, and our stuff is all organized for us. Here's the colors you need. Everything is ready, and you
Yeah.
walk in and you take your seat. And she goes, okay, first you're going to use this color. You're going to dip like this. You're going to brush off the extra, and then you're going to do this, like step by step. Here's what you're going to do. Then you're going to do this. And she says, do it this way, this kind of stroke, this and that. And everybody goes, oh, okay, yep, I can do that.
Yeah. Break it down for me. Yeah.
And at the end of it, you have a painting.
So true.
So I did that, and it turned out fantastic. I looked at it and I went, holy fuck, I did that. That was very
Right.
cool. Now ask me to come home and recreate that. That ain't gonna happen. Okay.
It's true. It's probably true. It's probably true.
Because I don't have the brain, as you say. You see things in bricks, and I do not. I am very linear. This is what it is. 4 straight lines. Oh my God, one of the lines is crooked. I'm having a heart attack. Nope, got to fix that because it's not straight. And that's not artsy, all right? That's not conducive to being artsy, right?
It's so true. It's so true.
Opposite.
But that's what makes it work, right? Because if we all saw that way, it wouldn't make it special, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
That's right. And I have a huge admiration for artists such as yourself that can look at something and see something completely different, and then create that before your eyes. Just go boop 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 boop. Look what I just made. Boof. And it's like, how did you do that?
How did I do that? On that note, can I show you something kind of cool? I hope it works, but I made a mini Paul Stamets.
That's adorable.
Oh, that is so cool.
Fully out of mushrooms.
Now I looked at that and I immediately saw something different for the first time. This doesn't happen very often, but I have an idea for you. I'm a turtle freak. There's turtles all around me. There's turtles everywhere on my desk.
She's made
I'm a turtle freak. I have turtles.
I've made the turtles.
You got to do a turtle. I got to have a turtle mushroom turtle.
I've done mushroom turtles.
To have one.
I absolutely will do that again. I've done some mushroom turtles. Yeah. It was pretty fun. So I'm very eager to see, because art and psychedelics just seem to go together. And if I can grow and make my own art out of the psychedelics while I consume,
Yep.
It's all just kind of working.
Why not? Natural therapy at its finest, weaving its way through your life. So you managed to go through the whole trauma and ordeal of the pharmaceutical train, and the doctors blaming, other natural therapies that we were using for your. And it's funny that you had that experience with the doctor blaming your seizures on your cannabis use, because in 1978, I had a doctor that told my foster parent that cannabis was the reason for the reduction in my seizure activity. And here we are in 2020, and somebody's blaming cannabis for seizure activity. I mean, how off the wall is that?
I'm not going to lie. I was at a low point in my life, and I did walk out of that office, and I looked every single patient in the eyes and said, if you trust this man with your lives, they're in danger.
You're crazy. Yeah, you're crazy.
Your lives are in danger.
Yeah, for sure.
And I walked
but it's
out.
Amazing to me that there could be such a decline in education, in our medical community. I mean, we've got a doctor in 1978 that's talking to my social worker, my CAS social worker, and my foster mother about my cannabis use being a reduction, the cause of the reduction in my seizure activity in 1978.
In
And
78,
20,
yeah.
78.
like, we got 40 years later, we've got a doctor sitting in an office saying, well, cannabis is the reason for your increase. I mean,
Yeah.
how does that
Crazy.
happen? That
Yeah.
we go backwards in time like this. It's unbelievable, right?
It is disgusting, but thankfully I was able to use that as a catapult,
Yeah.
right? To really to see and to launch, and because that was the breaking straw for me. That was everyone has always said this. It's the cannabis, it's the weed, me, it's because you smoke weed. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
and I don't know how
it's
many
not.
studies we have to have or how many things we have to prove. And I kind of just, I mean, we've come so far now. We really have. We have come very far. But, it was just, there's still some of that, very old school mentality coming through, right? And unfortunately, again, with Canada, we have a lot of doctors that are coming to our country. And a lot of those people come with different views on plant medicines and not even just so much plant medicines, on cannabis being a drug. So, where do we find that?
Yep. Find the balance.
Medium. Yeah, we need balance,
Yeah,
right?
find the balance. You've got to find the balance. I mean, those that are uneducated need to get educated. I mean, if you're going to come to a place that has different ways of thinking or different educational resources available than where you're from, and you're going to be in the medical community in this new place, then it should be mandatory that you at least have the education standards to keep up with that. And cannabis has to become a part of that. I mean, we already have that framework in existence. If a doctor comes from another country, they have to pass certain tests and reapply at the college, and do all kinds of stuff, right? Cannabis has to be a natural therapy, period. I got to stop saying cannabis because now it's natural therapy. For me, it started off with cannabis like the rest of us, but it's evolved into so much more than that. And not just ones that cause euphoria either. Natural therapy. Our show, of course, is focused on the ones that produce a euphoric effect. But as you said, your low dose medicinal daily dose, we're talking about shiitake mushrooms here.
Yeah.
Lion's mane, all perfectly legal and sold in your local store. Natural therapy has to be incorporated in Canadian medicine. But, Canadian medicine doesn't have healthcare. We have sick care.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Unfortunately. Did you know that shiitake mushrooms are anti-cancer?
Yes. And they have so many properties in the various fungi that are out there that are in our grocery store.
Right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It just they fascinate me. I honestly believe mushrooms are going to save the world. They have to.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
but
they connect the world.
They can eat plastics, and now I'm not sure if you ladies heard, but they're now finding marine fungi. If there's marine fungi that can eat plastics, like this, you just see where this is all going. Like, we're now getting into mycelium leather. Where I'm trying to work on some mycelium art supplies. Like, it's gonna go and it's gonna explode. And we need activists like us. We need people that are ready to figure it out and speak up and draw attention to the beauty of the natural plants, and break away from those stigmas and really bring this to a forefront, because this is what's going to change the world.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I
Like,
mean, we've got hempcrete already in the cannabis world. We have hempcrete in the building world. They're making boards that look like they're oak flooring, and it's made out of hemp. We've got the battery. Hemp strands in internal hemp strands are actually conductive and
oh
are being
shit, I
used
did not know
in
that.
making, yeah, they're being used in making batteries
Wow.
in the battery industry. I mean, and then you've got, you talk about the mycelium leather and other
Gucci,
elements like that where
Gucci,
they're doing
all of
all
the,
kinds of stuff.
oh, it's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. I
Yep.
mean,
Well, it's there.
material wise, it's fantastic. It's a whole new world of product exploration, making since we don't need synthetics, we don't need plastic, we don't need all of these man-made produced things that are made with toxic chemicals whose aftermath is spewed out into our waterways and poisoning the land in order to produce these products, that everything is made from. Why can't we make it out of mycelium leather or, hempcrete?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. And I'm like, what
Yeah.
happens if they mix hempcrete and mycelium? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, like, are we building apocalypse proof stuff now? Like,
Yeah.
So it
Soundproof,
just-
soundproof nuclear shelters.
right? It just fascinates me every time. I mean, cannabis fascinated me too. And, as we got into, learning about the different molecules and all the different trichomes, terpenes, we got learning all of that stuff. Mycelium to me just fascinates me on so many more levels. It's below our feet.
Yeah.
It's literally everywhere. With every breath we take, we are inhaling a fungi spore of some sort. Like we eat mushrooms, mushrooms eat us. Like it's
Crazy.
fascinating.
Mushroom
Every
weed
time I
Have
turn
you
around.
seen the coffin? Did you see the coffin?
I want to be organic.
Yeah, there's a mycelium coffin. So the inside is it's biodegradable, and they wrap you sort of in cloth and sort of like mummified, I guess, similar process. And then you go inside and you're consumed by mushrooms. You grow a mushroom field,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Mellow
and
mushroom
there's
bitches,
nothing
it's
left.
coming.
And there's nothing left after you're back. You're part of the earth.
Yeah,
You're
you
one with,
become
and
part of the
literally
earth
one
again.
with the earth.
Yeah, the pods. I'm totally down for this.
Yep.
I have already written in my will. I'm going to be a tree. I want to be one of those earth pods that they have, but I was
Grows a
doing my
a tree.
ashes. My ashes go into a smaller egg rather than a life size, a body size one. It was just for my ashes and become a tree here on the farm.
It's
And
amazing.
now I'm looking at the mycelium one though.
Right?
Yeah, so I'm unsure.
Yeah.
We'll see how that progresses. See how long I live, I guess.
It's curious. I'm
Absolutely.
curious. I'm so eager to see every new product that comes out because again, we're just on the cusp, right? So
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we
we're
are.
just starting, right? It's
Yeah.
it's an exciting field to watch, and it's moving along fast.
It is
really
It
is.
is.
Really is.
Really fast. Really fast. Cannabis was like, the turtle going down the track. It was like, the Mennonite pulling horse and buggy pulling Mennonite. And what we're seeing in this space, in the psychedelic space, is almost a duplicate to what we saw with cannabis, except it's a bullet train rather than a Mennonite wagon.
Right?
It's following the same path. Everything is pretty much happening the same way, but at a much faster rate.
I have fears on that. I have fears that the pharmaceutical companies really
You're not
missed out
alone.
on the cannabis space, and they're
They're gonna
feeling
make
they
sure
missed
they
out
don't.
on the cannabis space, and they are not going to miss out on this.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
um,
I agree.
I am nervous on that. But
Yeah.
again, that's why we just continue to be advocates of growing your own.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
And
Baby
keep going
steps.
forward. So what's next for Mello?
Continuing. Next for Mello, actually, I am looking at doing some more lab work and growing some functional mushrooms. So I want to grow some black oyster mushrooms, and I want to grow some lion's mane, and really kind of try and branch out. And then in the spring, I want to try some organic medicinal mushrooms outdoors. So
That's harder, right? Isn't it? It's because of you've got chance of contamination. I mean, I grow my own mushrooms as well, and I mean, anything gets in there. You don't wash your hands right, you didn't glove up or something, your whole crop can be destroyed so easily. I heard it's harder outside.
So I've heard it's harder, and I've heard it's not harder, which is really wild. So
Yeah.
under the right environment, and I've actually thrown some excess colonized grain, into a bed and produced some pretty amazing mushrooms outdoors. As you saw the picture of me sitting on top of one there. Those were grown outdoors, and I laughed and joked about it, and I said, like, you spend so much time, exactly right, outdoors, just grown in a garden. There was no proper substrate, nothing was pasteurized, nothing was cleaned. I mean, slugs ate that. It just, they grow. I believe it's in the controlled environments, because the contaminations have less environmental restrictions. It's easier for them
I
to
guess
feed.
for every contaminant that's outside, there's something else that's eating that contaminant or fighting against that, because it's all in balance in nature. When we bring it
Absolutely.
indoors and there's only a contaminant, there's no counterweight for that contaminant, so the contaminant takes over. I
Correct.
can understand that, because it's the same with growing cannabis indoors versus outdoors. Outdoors, we get some aphids or something, they can fly in and they can be gone the next day without any preventative measures. Indoors, that doesn't happen.
Correct. Right. So again, it's that balance, right? It's providing that natural. So I've
Makes
seen
sense.
people have a lot of success with growing outdoors. So
Cool.
I guess we'll see.
We'll see.
Cool.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch your post and watch your journey as you start that, because you share so much with us, and it's so much fun to watch what you do, right? So that'll be something else.
Why, thank you. I appreciate that. Very glad to have you ladies on part of my journey, and super glad that you invited me here. I'm not going to lie, I've seen it online. I've kind of been busy. I've kind of forgotten about it. When you're so busy doing your own things, and sometimes you just don't have time. But I know where I'm going to be Tuesday nights from now on.
There you go.
Psychedelic Tuesdays.
Psychedelic Tuesdays.
Make it a microdose day. Come and join us.
For sure. I certainly will. I might even go out on a limb and be artistic and try a macrodose or something with you one night. And
that'll be fun.
Maybe we can make some shit.
That'll be a lot. Yeah, absolutely. We're going to have you back on a proper show. I really, really thank you for filling in last minute for our last minute cancellation. You're a trooper. I really appreciate it. I don't feel that we did you justice this evening, so we'll have to have you back where we can do a nice big proper ad and let people know that you're in the house, and join us for an update on Mello and what's going on in your life with your journey with psilocybin and psychedelic
Anytime,
art
ladies.
as well as therapy.
I could talk about mushrooms
you so much for
anytime. So anytime you need a filler or anytime you need an update, I'm here for you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
That would be an honor.
You're fantastic. Thank you so much. Awesome. Well, thank you everybody for joining us here tonight. And as always, thank you to my awesome joint host who's up there this time. Usually got to point sideways this time. I got to point up there. This time. I got point up ways. Thank you, of course, to you, our listeners here on Open Your Eye, joining us on our journey through psychedelic medicine, art, and so much more here on the Pace Radio Network. Join us each and every week here on the network for Psychedelic Tuesdays, and we'll be back next week. What do we got next week? Next week we've got Psychedelic Reporters. It's next week. Yeah, Psychedelic Reporters. Talking with Bufo Alvarius and everything that's going on in mainstream media news on the psychedelic front. Thank you again for Melanie Wilhelm for joining us tonight here on the broadcast, and watch for an upcoming podcast where Melanie's going to come back and chat some more in the very near future. All right, everybody, peace out. Have a great night, and we'll see y'all next week here on Psychedelic Tuesdays, 7 p.m. on Pace.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888. And grow on with CP.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education radio network.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
The People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network, found at paceradio.net, provides its listeners with news, information, and a place to be heard. This is done through our 5 weekly live video and audio broadcasts that cover cannabis and psychedelic news, plus those we interview. We get started Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern with the Reefer Reporters. Then at 9 p.m. we're live with Canada Quebec. Tuesday brings you Open Your Eye or the Psychedelic Reporters at 7 p.m. Wednesday at 8, we are live with the Pace Radio Show. But we're not done yet, because on Thursday, the Reefer Reporters return with another Reefer Report. Meanwhile, once a month, Thursdays bring you the Grassroots Advocate, the Pace Radio Network's audio magazine. All these shows, plus more, are found right here on paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.